Hey everyone, my name is Chase Downs. I am the head of sales and marketing over here at Gather. We are a funeral home software company based in Boise, Idaho, and I've had the pleasure of working on the team for just over 3 years now. Today I wanted to put together a quick overview demo of KeepTrack, our standalone body and belonging tracking platform for funeral homes and crematories. So right here from this view, the cool part about KeepTrack is it is fully cloud-based, so you're able to access this not only from your desktop computer or an iPad, but you can also access it right here from your phone, okay? So there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to just managing every case's chain of custody from first call all the way through to final disposition. But right here from your whiteboard, this is a fully customizable view. So we can actually apply filters. We can dictate what kind of information we want to be displayed on each of these unique case cards as they're populated onto the tracking whiteboard. The other flexibility that you have with this view is you can actually customize the tracking locations, is what we call them, on your whiteboard. So pickup location, in transit, cooler, prep room, and so forth. We could rename these locations if we wanted to. We could update the capacity if we wanted to as well. There's a lot of flexibility that we have when it comes to configuring our whiteboard view. The other cool feature that you have is the ability to create additional locations. So you can make this as complex of a process as you want, or as simple of a process as you'd like. You can also bulk edit these locations and reorder them as needed, depending on how your processes work today. So that covers obviously the tracking whiteboard side of things. Another component that I like to point out is if you're a multi-location firm, let's go ahead and say that you have 4 or 5 funeral home locations that you manage today, we can also set up a shared location view. So perhaps across those 4 or 5 locations, you share the same cooler and it all lives at one facility. We can see where each case originates from. So right here for Thomas, he originated from the Diversity Family Funeral Home location in the system, but we can see that Joey Johnson, who happens to be at the same cooler, actually originated from USA Funeral Home. So again, it's giving your team transparency and the visibility that they need to see exactly what's going on across all locations, not just isolated to one. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through a first call. So let's say that your dispatcher gets a first call. All they have to do is click the big button that says Assign New KeepTrack. We're going to go ahead and initialize the tracking for the case. We'll go ahead and create a brand new case from the system. We'll go ahead and just do Matt Parchment. We'll say that Matt passed away today, and then we can select who the case is assigned to as well. The system will automatically check for duplicates based on first and last name. And then from here, we'll select a theme for the Remember page. And then the other cool part with KeepTrack is you can customize the task list based off of the type of service that your team is providing. So you could create as many workflows as you want in the system, and you can actually customize out these tracking steps and add prerequisites as needed. So if there's a particular step that you don't want your team to complete until they first complete a step prior in the process, you can configure the system to block them from moving forward on a case's progress. Another item that I want to point out, so the aftercare tasks are actually only included if you go with Gather's case management platform as well, and they would essentially be an aftercare task list that is provided to the family once they log into the family portal. But from here, I'm just going to go ahead and select traditional burial and services workflow. Next, I could upload an identification photo of the decedent if I need to. I could upload a first call sheet right here, but all we have to do is just confirm the location once this first call came through. Go ahead and sign off that I am the individual that completed this tracking step. And now we'll be able to enter our cases organized page where we're able to start working through various tracking steps, schedule any events that we need to track in the system, and so forth. So once we're starting to track this case, there's obviously a lot of different pieces of information that we can do. If we wanted to invite in a family member so that way they can view updates during their loved one's care, all you have to do is click on the invite button and you can invite them in via email, text message, or both, where they'll be able to see any of those care updates in real time. And if you ever wanted to quickly simulate what that view looks like, which I'll show you a little bit later, you can toggle between director view and family view, which gives you a really good idea of what that experience will look like on a case-by-case basis. If we scroll down a little bit, this is where we'll see our entire chain of custody record for that case. So the moment that we began the tracking for the case, to each movement or tracking step that's been completed along the way, as well as a timestamp with who completed that task and exactly when they completed that particular task or movement, okay? We can also customize what steps are visible in the family portal. So if there's certain updates that we don't really need the family to see, we can just leave those as not being visible for the family. Other components that you have on this page are going to be unlimited case file storage, You can also upload any existing fingerprint files that you've already collected right here. We can also upload and track any personal effects or belongings for that case too. So if I wanted, for example, to go ahead and say that Matt had a watch, I could snap the picture on my phone from the app, upload it, say that it's Matt's watch. We can add an item description as well. So we'll just go ahead and say golden color. And then we can designate what needs to happen with that personal effect or that belonging. And then all we have to do is simply sign off and verify that we are the team member that completed that step. And then once we've actually returned it to the family, we can simply come back into the case file, verify that the item's been returned, and we'll have that updated in the system for us as well. Another cool little feature is you do have the ability to upload a secure deceased identification photo of the decedent just for your team to have. Again, this will not be visible to the family. It's only for your team to internally view to verify that they're working on the correct individual. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back. So now that we've created this case for Matt Parchment, if we click back on the QR code in the top left-hand corner, we should be able to see that his case now populated on the tracking whiteboard for us. So now we can start entering in additional information, including the vitals if we wanted to log or record that in this system as well. You do have the ability to do that. And then when your team's ready to move them from the pickup location to in transit, it's as easy as a drag and drop in the system. They can add optional placement details, and they can sign off that this step has been completed. And from there, we'll obviously get the running track record of chain of custody. The next component that you probably have a question on is how to print out a unique identification label for the decedent. And here's a really good example of what that looks like today. So it's just a standard unique identification label. And then typically what we recommend is just purchase some of those medical wristbands that you can secure the label to. But you'll see that there's a unique QR code along with a lot of other helpful information on the decedent. All your team has to do is scan that QR code with their phone, log into the app, and they can update the care details for that particular case that they're working on. So for Matt Parchment, for example, if I wanted to do that, I could click on his case. And again, we're going to go back to the tracking page for that particular case. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, we should be able to see we have two different label templates that we can select from. We can do, if you would prefer and you have a lot of removals in-house, you can print out as many labels as you need to from a standard office printer using Avery 5160 label sheets. Or there's also the Avery 5163 cremated remains sticker if you prefer to utilize those instead. But then also the other option that we do provide is a mobile printer solution. We do not sell the mobile printer, but we can provide you with the link for where you're able to go and buy them. They're pretty affordable, $150 a unit. But what you're able to do is print out as many labels as you want directly from the system. And if you did go that route, instead you just click on print QR tracking sticker right here. Make sure that you have the correct setting when connecting to the actual printer itself, and you'll be able to then print out as many as you need. So we've got that tag right here. The system will remind you if you haven't already entered in the date of birth or a few other details, those will show up as blank or show up as missing. So the system will remind you to go do that before you actually go and print them out, which is nice. Other components that you will have as well, so this is a little bit more of a completed case where you can see the whole chain of custody record. We can see each movement and when exactly it took place. If there's any other tracking steps that we worked on, we could do those right here as well. If your team needs to go in and complete a tracking step, it's very easy. You're able to configure out each of these tracking steps as well, which is super helpful to point out, which you can do right here on the back end. So you could reorder these tracking steps as needed. You could set up a prerequisite. So for example, before you can complete an embalming procedure and report, there's actually going to be a few other prerequisites that need to be completed first, including obtaining signature from the family, obtaining fingerprints, and recording any belongings or personal effects for that particular case. But I actually created this tracking step myself. So I added in all these pre-embalming observations, and then when a team member goes to complete that tracking step, it all gets recorded back to the cases file for us. All right, so that kind of covers what it looks like to create the tracking for a brand new case, and this is just me showing you obviously what a more complete case looks like, where we can see originally when we had started tracking and where we're at currently today. The other component that I did want to show you is actually going to be the family portal. So if you invite in a family member, which again you can do via email or text message, they'll receive a link where they then set up a unique password. Again, we want to make sure that we're protecting their loved one's information as much as possible, which is why we require that password. But once they log in, they'll be able to see any belongings that are recorded for their loved one's case to verify. And this is my actual French bulldog. Her name is Denali. I've used her on several demos before, so we're simulating her as a dog statue as a belonging for this particular case. But the family members will also be able to see whoever's invited into the portal, any care updates that have taken place along the way. So right here, brought into our care, assigned to the particular arranger or funeral director, and then they'll just see Harry is safely in our care. If we wanted to update the visibility on that as well, it's very easy for us to do that, and we can do it on a case-by-case basis, which is really nice. So if the family was a little bit more involved and they wanted to know every single step that's taken place along the way, we could update the family visibility on each of these particular tasks. And if I go back to the family portal view, the family will see those updated care updates as well. So they could expand, view additional care details, and see a full timeline of their loved one's care. So overall, it's a really useful system. It helps your team prevent any mistakes when it comes to chain of custody. It allows you to provide more transparency to the families who seek it. And again, it's a very customizable system that you can adjust to fit your existing processes today. And if anything, find additional ways to just become more efficient and help hold your team more accountable. The last component that I did want to point out is once you've completed the chain of custody, there is a printable case tracking summary as well. All you have to do is click that button and it will generate a quick little case tracking summary that will pull up in just a few seconds. Let me see if I can, let's go here and open in a new tab. There we go. So here is the printable chain of custody record with a summary of all of the digital signatures that were completed, who completed each step, when, and if there were any notes that were left on that tracking step, we'd be able to see those in this printable summary as well. So anyways, that is a good little overview of KeepTrack and everything that your funeral home or crematory will be able to do from a chain of custody standpoint. It's a very helpful way for, again, the reputation that you've built up over the years. It's a great way for you to protect that, maintain compliance with any new laws that are taking place in your state regarding chain of custody, and again, just keep your team accountable from first call all the way through to final disposition. So I hope this demo session helped. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we can talk soon. Thanks.